Hello, this is just going to be a quick little demo of the NVIDIA VSS and TwelveLabs integration. And so specifically, this will be focusing on the manufacturing automation industry. So just to give a little brief rundown of how this application actually works, it's fairly simple. It has two navigation bars. One will be this dashboard that we're currently on, the factory CCTV dashboard. And this will essentially be where you can actually view your live streams. And this will really show how TwelveLabs and NVIDIA VSS make real-time video intelligence possible. And so during the demo, you can just see a very simple Getting Started tab here. You can go ahead and select the factory, click on it. It will activate the live streaming functionality. And then from there, it'll pair up with NVIDIA VSS and TwelveLabs to give you live AI intelligence. And so I will show exactly how that works and a little bit of the logic that goes into it. So let's go ahead and activate this construction site. So you can go ahead and see that it is activating. And to sort of show you how the backend works, essentially what we're doing is that in this server, which is currently my local host, but this will of course change when we go ahead and deploy, it's going to scan for open ports on the server. In this case, it found 59348, 55510, and 55511. And then we'll use FFmpeg, as you can see here, to create an infinitely looping video to simulate a CCTV camera. So I attempted to find real CCTV camera footage of construction sites and factories in the past, but those are proprietary data. So what we're essentially doing is a workaround to simulate a fake camera by infinitely looping a video using FFmpeg, placing it on a specific port on our server, and remuxing it into a RTSP link. And then this RTSP link is then fed into Media MTX to change it from RTSP to HLS. And then finally, if you notice here, there's this random URL here. Essentially, we're utilizing reverse SSH via Cloudflare's tunnels to actually go into the server and expose out these specific ports into publicly accessible URLs. So yeah. If we go ahead and click here, should be able to load up our streams. This process does take around 1 minute just because of the fact that all the FFmpeg processing as well as the Media MTX processing is on our end. So during the live demo, you may have to refresh this when you first start it and give it a minute or two. And you can see some of our streams are going to start populating now. But for the demo, I've actually included a feature where they can either upload their own HLS stream or upload their video. Having an HLS stream on hand can be quite difficult, so that's for a very specific use case. But we can actually go ahead and create a new camera. I'll go ahead and just name this camera 03, and I'll go ahead and upload another construction video. You can go ahead and preview this. Although it is just a 14-second video, this, once we pass it in, will automatically be chunked with NVIDIA VSS and then passed to a TwelveLabs index also through NVIDIA VSS. So we can go ahead and either watch the video, but let's go ahead and just create a CCTV camera. And then there, you can see that some of our other streams are starting to load, and you can see that the new stream we just created has started loading. And there we go. All 4 streams are now populated inwards. And then so once you start these live streams, you can then go over to clips. This is where the automatic AI intelligence happens. You can see that the streams that we just started, some of the videos are actually loaded into our clips. And then we can go ahead and click onto a specific clip. So if we click on groundwork, you can see here that this is essentially what it looks like to get the in-depth AI analysis. We have a chapter timeline, and this is via the TwelveLabs API. And you can see that we also have a chatbot. And we also have these interactive time-stamped icons, improper use of gloves, inefficient concrete pouring. And then so you're actually able to interact with those buttons once they pop back up when the appropriate timestamp comes back. I can definitely show you how that works. And you can also talk to an AI agent assistant. And so this is with chatbot's chat feature. And then you can also click here, and you can see that this will directly link to, that link isn't valid, but typically it will link to OSHA standards to sort of allow factory managers to get a more in-depth view of why it is specifically a hazard. So in the meantime, we can go ahead and chat with our chatbot. You can ask really any question about your video. You can ask specifically like, how do I improve my compliance score and safety? We can go ahead and send that in, and it will start generating. In the meantime, we can also generate a highly detailed compliance report and download it. So we can go ahead and generate that as well. And then there we go. Our chatbot has answered. And then so this will actually take into consideration the location at which the factory or construction site is based in. So for example, I'm based in Los Angeles, California. It'll look up my location and give local law and regulation tips and tricks. So for example, it talks about personal protective equipment such as hard hats, safety glasses, machinery and equipment should be properly maintained, etc. And if we look down here, we can get an even more detailed view with our custom compliance report. And so with this on-demand compliance report, we can see things like exact compliance violations, when it starts, the severity, the root cause of it, the exact OSHA regulation, as well as a percentage for the compliance score and the potential fines. You can see corrective actions. So this can lead into a work management platform where you'll be able to either approve, decline, and maybe link this to other systems, maybe an email, a Jira ticket system, etc. And so you can go ahead and click approve there. An overall risk assessment, so operational risk versus safety risk, the reason for that risk, and as well as operational efficiency. So for example, we can see there's unnecessary motion, waiting, and here it's very specific in saying that the concrete mixer truck is stationary for 10 seconds, etc., which could lead to a bottleneck in the workflow. And an overall summary and metrics of the number of people detected, incidents, and the total risk that you have with your current OSHA compliance. And so you can see that this essentially gives you everything you would need for either a manufacturing factory or even a construction site. And lastly, we can go ahead and download this CSV, and we can open it, and you can see that you can actually store all this data and export it out if you want to send it to management, etc. And then so now let's actually check back in our clips. You should notice that it isn't populated, and that's because NVIDIA VSS doesn't have any async operation. So that video that we uploaded that is now a stream, so camera 4 here, it is actually still uploading. So just to show you exactly how it works, essentially you can see here there's a bunch of OpenCV logs. Essentially, that's where our RTSP stream worker is chunking that specific video and conducting what's known as PPE to people comparison. So specifically here, I created a custom CV model trained on over 15,000 images that essentially will detect specific items like boots, gloves, and people. And you can see exactly the confusion matrix on the accuracy. So it is highly accurate on things like vests, people, helmet, gloves, dust masks, and etc. And essentially what it's doing here is utilizing this computer vision pipeline. It will essentially tell us whether or not to pass in that chunk to TwelveLabs. So to be more specific, if the number of people and the number of protective equipment is equal, then there's no need to pass it into TwelveLabs. And so it seems that we have finished, and there we go. You can see that the video that we uploaded has been successfully chunked, and we've also had that extra computer vision analysis. So it is deemed that some worker at some time doesn't have all the proper equipment. So you can see that this person up at the top has boots, a vest, etc. But it's not really clear from the video if the person down below or the person on the left-hand side has all the proper equipment. And so in fact, I think the person on the left doesn't even have gloves. And so our computer vision pipeline properly detects that. And then so again, this will have the usual chatbot, chapter timeline, as well as the compliance report that you can generate on demand. And so yeah, that is the NVIDIA VSS and TwelveLabs integration. Feel free to let me know if you guys want any other additional features. I'm happy to add that at this stage. But if not, I will continue and bring this to production soon, and hoping to talk to you on Monday.